The front, that's the first
No,
week.
you gotta stay out of the front.
Why?
The video from your
I want to sit in the front of the side.
Oh, hey,
I can get it.
brother a hug.
Transfer cable?
And he didn't move.
You got one?
I do, but I plugged it in
Can I
inside
go
my
fill up
lady
my
board
water
and it's
bottle?
still there.
There, were we supposed to turn the car for me?
Yeah, class.
Why would you make stuff and not turn it in?
Oh, well, I thought we were Okay. Sorry, I'll
Really?
Erica, you should send it to me so I can turn it in.
What does it smell like burning? Who burning?
It's the
And?
furnace thing.
The videos on this phone, so.
Where are you gonna get it?
Should I have
It's
this
not a
on?
furnace, it's a boiler room.
Mr. Snyder's taking drugs. He's a sniffing He's sniffing.
There's about 8,000 things going on in class today. Okay. First of all, just in case I flip my lid. Okay? I got home at almost 11:30. It was after midnight when I got to sleep. My alarm clock goes off at 5:40.
Why'd you do that?
Okay? And then I drive in the dark for over an hour. And then I have juniors in chemistry. And then I have juniors and seniors in physics. And then I get you.
That's okay.
Okay? So, if I blow a gasket, I apologize, but it's been a long day already. And now, we have Miss Keller, and Mary's coming, but she's going to be a little late. And Miss Keller's probably going to mess with the robot. Your bags need to not be near your desk. All the way over there, shoved up out of the way. Up on another chair. On another chair in the back would be fine.
What about underneath?
And we don't want any accidents like last time.
We need the aisles free so the robot can go up and down.
What about charger? Yeah, it's just charging your computer.
Chargers, just need to watch for the robot.
Yeah, just lift it up when it comes.
Lift it up over top of the robot and life is good.
Or lift the robot on top
Or
for it.
pull the plug and let the robot go through and then plug it back in or something.
It's just Snyder.
Yeah.
Internet.
Okay. Chill. That's not everything that's going on today. Okay? Mrs. Keller's probably going to lead class today. I'm going to be in charge of whacking you in the back of the head when you're not paying attention. She's going to be in charge of the material. And there's probably going to be some people with lots of letters behind their name that are also on here with Mrs. Keller. So I'm going to put Mrs. Keller on the wall. As long as nobody stole the extension.
Who would steal something like that?
It's just unplugged. Don't ask me why it's unplugged. So, the next thing is, you have presentations ready?
Yeah. No.
Some of which are digital, and some of which are analog, right? What's analog?
Or
You're talking.
Not on the screen.
Not digital,
Yeah.
right? So, some of your presentations are gonna be posters that you made, colored,
analog is on and off.
and some of your presentations are going to be digital. So, we have Mr. Brunner. It looks like Mary's in class. Maybe.
It just didn't catch.
You, yeah, what is it? No.
Rat.
No, stay over there. Allison. No. You.
It's just a rat in a plastic bag. What's the big deal?
There's a rat in your classroom?
It's in a plastic bag. It's okay.
It's dead.
It's a dead one.
Oh, they're running around.
It's hero.
The anatomy class is dissected.
Yeah, live was in there, they had to come down.
Ew.
Christine's the only one freaking out.
Well, usually I wish I was in South Dakota with you guys, but today I'm brought in Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, the bottom one.
what does it look like?
The rat?
Allison.
Hey, he wants to see the rat.
It's a rat and it's dead, Jim.
Okay. I can hear from Heather's voice that we don't want to know. Oh, okay, so it's just a dissected rat.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody said you had to lick it. That would be a big deal.
It was lovely.
This whole collapse.
And now we know. Now we know why Mrs. Keller's a math teacher, not a science teacher.
Exactly. Numbers don't die.
But Allie,
That should go on a pillow.
And they don't smell gross either.
Numbers don't die.
Neither of which is true of freshmen, by the way.
Wow.
Harsh, bro. Harsh.
Hey,
It was disgusting.
sometimes reality bites.
Hey, who is that guy?
Okay.
So they're sugar gliders. Why? Those are disgusting. I told it to jump and it jumped right at me and it scared the crap out
It
of me.
was like
All right.
on me and then it started thinking what did it?
I was like,
You said don't let it wait.
Heather, can you give me a sound check?
check.
Can you guys hear me okay?
No,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm deaf.
Wow.
You need to talk louder.
How about that?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Whoa. Yeah.
Now I'm in overboard. Okay, that should be
How's
about
this?
right.
Nope.
Perfect.
Hello.
Good.
Hello. All right. So how are you guys doing today besides the dead rat?
Nope.
Disgusting.
Awesome. I just wanted to go over scientific notation with you guys a little bit from your pre-tests. It looked like some of you guys sort of remembered what scientific notation is, like you've seen it before, but you need a little bit of a refresher. And so we were going to do that, talk about it a little bit, and then there's a really cool video on powers of 10 using scientific notation that will blow your minds. At least it blew my mind when I was younger, and it still does when I watch it. So we'll see. It's kind of old. It's older than me, so it's old, and that's okay because it's really cool. And then after that, you guys are going to work on something that will help you. It's not busy work. The purpose of it is for you guys to make a resource that you can refer back to later in this science unit, so that you don't have to go keep looking up the same thing online or asking me and Mr. Schneider 1,000 times, wait, what was this? What was this? You can actually use it as a tool. So we'll get there. In the meantime, could you guys take out a piece of paper or open up a Word document on your computers just to write down some stuff? Whatever's easiest for you. From your surveys, you guys were saying, some of you said you like using computers all the time. Some of you guys said you prefer to write things down. So do what's most comfortable for you as long as you're writing it down. And I'm going to share my screen here.
The buzz is a little annoying, I know.
Why is there a buzz?
Am I buzzing?
The projector is buzzing.
Oh,
I've got your sound coming through the projector. And I might be able to. You want to give me another sound check, Heather?
can you guys see the scientific notation on the screen? It's just a big white document and it says scientific notation.
Can you double the font size and zoom in a little?
How's
That's much better for me. How about in the back?
Oh, pretty.
Brecken, can you read that?
No.
Would you like to move? There's more chairs.
No.
How about that?
What's his name?
His name is Jim Bruner, and he is the computer and art and graphics guy at the Pass Foundation in Columbus, Ohio.
I like him.
They are literally like 3 baseball throws away from the campus for Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're across the street and 1 building over.
Are they in the same building?
Jim knows lots of stuff about everything.
That's not true.
I
I know
don't-
some things about a few things.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't think he knows everything about lots of stuff, but he knows lots of stuff about everything.
One thing I don't know a lot about is scientific notation, and I'm curious to listen to
Oh.
what Miss Heather has to say.
Oh, it's just a simple review. Nothing too crazy, but Jim, you'll like the video that we're gonna watch.
Who's
Okay, so a good thing to do, you guys, is title this document. Just call it scientific notation, like this, and you can center it if you want, or not, whatever.
And do a file save as with your last name
Absolutely,
And
I'm
your
gonna do that
school?
too.
in front of that title. And then you can't lose it, because I'm not gonna have a whole lot of sympathy for people losing stuff.
What if I like to lose stuff?
Get better at it.
I also like to date my stuff,
I
just
know.
so I can remember, oh, when did we do that? That was back in January.
My document things says last time you saved it, so, yeah.
So the date today is, I want all this to be the
27.
20
It automatically says on mine.
the 27th?
Yes.
Boom.
Boom, what?
Okay, so what is scientific notation, you guys? Is anyone comfortable throwing out a definition? If you remember what it is?
A way to express a very big number.
Yeah.
I like that.
What do you do?
Does anyone want to add something to that? How do like, for example, how do we express that very big number?
Exponents?
Yeah.
Yep. We use powers of 10, which are basically, they look like this. Where those little numbers are exponents. And did you see how I was making the little numbers using the computer?
No.
There is a little icon up at the upper left-hand area of your Word program that has a little number up there. It's called superscript. Do you guys have that?
Right here.
Oh my gosh, that's
Go ahead and take a moment to find that.
I found it. Hey, he was walking.
Yeah, just so you know.
It was so cool. Like, awesome walking. Dude. Whatever his name is.
Okay, and so what's the point of using it? Whoa.
Hello.
So what's the purpose of scientific notation? Not just because it's super fun, but why? Why do we care? Why are we using it?
It's an easier way to
You
express
have
a
the
number.
explanations with them.
It's an easier way. I heard someone say it. It's an easier way to express a really big number. So you don't have to write out a ton of zeros if you have a number in the quadrillions or quintillions, which we'll talk about later too.
Oh, it's more nuts.
You can also express really small numbers using negative powers.
She froze.
That is the perfect way to freeze.
It's what?
You froze on us, Heather.
I froze. I was just asking standard notation. What's that?
It's just like the whole number, like 5,000,000 0,000,000.
Yes, exactly. It's when we write a number not using scientific notation. So like the normal way of writing a number. So exactly like 5,012,000, 1,002, 0.001. Okay, so examples.
Oh, this is so annoying.
What's annoying?
not you, it's the computer.
She's
Oh, okay.
she's struggling with the exponents and getting Word to behave.
Well, I
And
don't like
Control
when
shift
I have
and
blue
plus
squiggly lines and bright squiggly lines. That just annoys me.
Let's talk about another way to write scientific notation on the computer. So if you are struggling, like if you're just not able to find these little numbers,
Well, I
Right now,
can, but
we're
they
able to do
always
that in
pop
Word.
up.
It's the
you can write it like this.
The carrot.
Carrot.
Yes. Yeah, good.
Shift 6.
That was on our thing, our quiz thing.
Shift 6. Better you can go control
You
shift.
can call this ways to write scientific notation on the computer. You can write it using a caret. You can do a little number like we talked about. It's called superscript. Or you can write it out. You can say 10 to the second power. All of those are 1,000% acceptable.
Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. What is standard notation? Writing number. Her thing cutting off anything.
Mrs. Keller, can you
Yes.
move your page to the left?
Move my page to the left.
My
Good enough.
my Zoom is
Hi.
covering up the right-hand side of your page.
Okay, it says hi.
Oh, okay.
If you could shrink it from full screen and just give us a little room on the side.
How's that?
Oh, way smaller than it would need to be even. Grab the right side and pull it over another inch or so. Actually, you can go all the way over to your orange little thing that's bouncing, and you can cover that up. There you go, perfect. Now zoom so your paper fills your whole window, and we're good.
Thank you for reminding me that the little orange bouncy thing was hers. I was sitting here trying to click on it, it wasn't. All right, long moment for Mrs. Schneider today.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with blonde moments.
No, I thought the orange bouncy thing was on my computer too.
Heather, if you could go to about 180% with the slider on there, and maybe even 200, there you go, that'll work. That's just great.
Cool.
And Mary, can you fire up the double?
No, I don't have access to anything that has a double.
Gosh darn it.
Okay, there's a second component to scientific notation, so we're going to scroll back up and go up to our definition here. And we're going to say, and a number between 1 and 10. So just saying 10 to the first power, 10 to the second power, 10 to the third power, that's not enough. We actually have another number we write before that, and we write it as a multiplication problem. So some examples would be 3.08 times 10 to the 8th power. That's writing a number in scientific notation. What would that number be in standard notation? How many zeros? Or what might be a way to figure out how many zeros? So my trick that I use is I move the decimal point over that number of times. And so it's going to go on the other side of the 0. And then it's going to go on the other side of the 8. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's our number. And you can insert commas to get a better idea of what that number looks like. So that's 308 million. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do another one. Only you guys are going to help me with it this time. Let's do 9.52148 times 10 to the what? What should we do?
14.
-3.
Ooh. What does it mean when we have negative exponents?
It's
a
over
fraction.
Go the other way.
It's a fraction.
Yes, yeah. Does that mean we have negative numbers?
No.
It's a
No.
0 point something something.
Exactly, yeah. It just means we're making the numbers super small. We're not getting into negative numbers in standard notation, just the exponent is negative. So, we have our 95218, and the decimal point was here, but now we're going to move it over once, twice, 3 times. And then if you want, you can put a 0 in front of the decimal point. And so what's a shortcut for doing that? Does anyone see a relationship between this number and something else in here?
There's 3 zeros before the number.
Exactly, including the one before the decimal point. That's the trick. And so the people that missed this question on the pretest, I think you guys were just forgetting to count this one, like you guys had it as this, as your answer. And we don't want to do that. We want to count that 0 in the beginning.
I want to do that. Can somebody explain to me why I need to put the decimal point in between those zeros?
Anyone want to explain to Mrs. Schneider why?
Because, you don't need a 0 out there, but it helps you show that you went 3 places, or it can help. It can show you that you have more numbers outside.
Okay, so is it a suggestion or a rule?
Suggestion.
Okay, I'll take
And-
it.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna steal this over here. Can you guarantee me that every time you see a number written with a .095, that you can see the decimal point every time?
No.
Have any of you ever written a number over top of your decimal point, and it's really hard to see the decimal point, you have to make a new one?
Yeah.
Or right over top of it and make it darker and bigger and fatter? That's why we always put a 0 in the front. There can never be a decimal point in the front of a number in science class, ever. Always gotta be a number in front.
That's not a suggestion, that's a rule then for this class.
For me, and that's the way I was taught, that you always have to have a number in the front. And that way you can't have a missing decimal point, or a teacher that doesn't see it, but you actually put it there.
As an artist and as a graphic communicator, it makes a lot of sense to have the 0 there, because if there's a lot of stuff going on a page and you see that period leading and you don't pay attention to it, that could really be disastrous. So as a communicator, that 0 is hypercritical, not just in your class, but in the real world. That's a big problem. So I don't think that's a suggestion at all. I think that should be a concrete rule.
It's a best practice, how's that?
I like those perspectives. Yeah, as a mathematician, I would say, oh, you don't have to have the 0 because the decimal point alone makes it a decimal point, and we know that number is less than 1. But I like that rule, that we have to have a 0 for communication purposes. We want to be clear with each other. You guys want to be clear with your teachers and with each other if you're showing numbers. Especially in science, where those numbers are not just abstract things, we're using them to do something. Okay, let's do one more, and then we'll move on to actually applying this stuff. So, what's another number we could do?
That's not a number.
Shout it out nice and loud.
14.
6,
Yeah.
7,
14.
3,
3,
2.
Okay, times 10 to the,
4.
7,
14.
ooh. All right, what would this be? Go ahead and do it on your own, and then tell me what to type.
Remember, 15 seconds of think time, so get it finished and then be patient. Don't just bark it out as soon as you get it figured out.
I like that.
big number.
Mary isn't able to connect to it right now. I'm able to connect to it. Yes, I will use it later in this class period for sure, in about, 10 minutes.
I got it to work with my phone, so it's up and ready.
Yeah, my phone won't connect.
Yeah, that is thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Hello. Where is he? Like in cafeteria?
Well, look at him. Is he the same one?
Do we have it?
I think so.
Yes.
How do you know?
Very
I
careful.
counted the numbers.
Are you sure you counted them correctly?
Yes, I checked it twice.
How do you know? Go ahead, Heather, you got a video ready.
You got a math?
No, let's talk about this one first. I was just cueing it.
I was just looking at your second example, which doesn't have commas. Is it appropriate to put commas after the decimal point on the right side?
No.
How do we know how far you move the decimal point then? How can you count those?
Tens, hundreds, thousands.
Sure, but like this next one, you have 10 to the 14th power. Are you gonna get lost counting 14 times?
Yeah.
Is there a good way to help you not get lost when you can't put in commas? In science, we put in spaces a lot of times, instead of a comma. So it's also appropriate in this 308 million number, instead of a comma, to put in a space. Now, actually, technically, there's supposed to be a half a space, which is a royal pain. But as a science teacher, I would be okay with that answer if it had spaces instead of commas. So in this decimal number, you could put a space between the 9 and the 5, and between the 1 and the 8. And that would make it a lot easier to count how far you moved that decimal point. Because there's a whole bunch of groups of 3 there. Can you make that happen in your 10 to the 14th number down there, your third example? Put in those spaces, you don't have to count them. You should be able to get to 12 real easy and get to 14 from there without getting lost.
Just spaces and
This might lead you down a path that you don't want to go, but yeah, I'm old school, right? So I didn't have a calculator back in the day. How do I do the math on that, Mrs. Keller? And do I need to do the math?
That's a good question. What's the whole point of using scientific notation, you guys?
To express a bigger number.
So you don't use so much paper and save the trees.
Both of them, exactly. We would get lost with that number and we would kill a lot of trees, writing all those zeros. And so for the sake of practice, it's fine to write out all the zeros this time, just so, to help us learn what scientific notation is and grapple with this concept, but we would not write out that many zeros. Although how many zeros are there? Because we have a pretty hefty decimal right here.
9 zeros.
9. What's the shortcut to doing that math using 14?
There's 5 numbers behind the decimal.
Exactly, so it's some easy subtraction. We're going to have 14 spaces that we move this decimal, but not 14 zeros. We'll have 14 minus 5, so 9 after there. Or we can count it out as we write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ugh. That's a really big number.
That's the miles almost to Alpha Centauri, the next star. That's a lot of zeros there. I don't know why I know that, I just do.
I told you knew lots
So
of
what is
stuff.
that? Or this is millions, right?
Yep.
This is thousands, ten thousands, hundred thousands, millions,
Trillion.
billions. What's after billions?
Trillion. US.
Trillions. 671
You don't count the six? No, because that's where.
trillion. 432 billion is that number. Or we can use scientific notation. Okay. Questions? Concerns?
Have you done this before?
Yeah.
So this is all just a review from last year. So everybody's got this?
That's the way you need that.
So you're not ready for a quiz or anything?
No, they'll learn it again this year.
If we use a calculator, I can.
If I gave you a quiz on, I'm not going to do this, but if I did, and I said, write this number as a standard, write this number in standard notation, write this number in scientific notation, would you guys be able to do that?
Yes.
You feel pretty good about that?
Yeah.
Wait, the normal way of writing a number is you just write the first number.
Standard form or standard notation? Yep, regular numbers.
Okay, so I wanna ask another question if I can. And again, I don't wanna veer you away. What if we don't know the number of, like pi, we don't know, right?
Oh, and it goes on forever.
Infinity, right?
Yes, so if we have a non-repeating decimal, is what that's called, a decimal that goes on forever. At that point, we would use significant figures, which is something we can talk about Friday. And those are very important in science because we have to always go to a certain number of decimal points when we're expressing our quantities so that our measurements are read accurately. And so there's certain rules for when you multiply and divide certain numbers. You need to include a certain number of zeros after the decimal point or before it, in between numbers, all that good stuff. That was a good question, Mrs. Schneider, thank you. And I liked what Jim said about the distance to the nearest star from here. We're gonna actually look at powers of 10 in this video and see exactly what this means. I mean, that's a big number to try to think about and conceptualize. So can you guys see this okay? Should I move it to the left? Because,
There's like a little.
You can go ahead, go full screen, and I will remove our thumbnails.
Can you turn the lights off?
And I can turn the lights off.
that's pretty. See, this is a movie that was made in 1977, a long time ago, but you can't really tell because it's just zoom outs and zoom ins with powers of 10. The people look kind of dorky in the beginning, but that's about it.
Yeah,
And Mr. Schneider, just let me know when we're good.
we're good, and you can go full screen.
Can you guys hear it too?
No.
Cool thing about this video, it was done by Ray and Charles Eames, who were fabulous architects and designers, and very good friends with Carl Sagan. This is an amazing video. I saw this when I was a kid, and it changed my world. This is a really cool video. It's one of my favorites, actually.
And we don't actually have to have the sound, I
Um,
think. They talk about these people are having a picnic and this is 10 to the 0th power. So we are zoomed in on them. That's how many meters away we are from that guy. And now they're gonna zoom out by powers of 10. So that's 1 meter, 10 meters.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Where they're having a picnic at? In the middle of the street.
Is that even a park? They're the only ones in that.
They're like on a strip of a parking lot or something. Is that a boat?
Oh my god, you guys.
I think it's.
That's a big boat.
It's like some park in Chicago,
Well,
I
not the
believe.
entire thing, it's in the water.
I feel small.
That's Chicago.
That's
Ah,
all.
Caesar Bio River.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Mr. Ritter here, mind's blown.
Like Michigan.
It's like Michigan.
Why would you put a Lake Michigan in Chicago? Like,
They didn't. They put Chicago next to Lake Michigan. The lake was there first.
Anyway, 1 million meters.
oh, I told you, 10 million.
Oh,
How'd they get a camera out there?
Oh my god.
satellite.
Are you kidding?
You see the power over on the right?
Yeah, we're not even at 10 yet.
100 million is 10 to the 8th.
Nope, it's
1,000
not.
million.
10 to the 9th.
That circle was the moon, by the way.
What circle?
Now we're in the circle that just passed. Now we're going out into the orbit of Jupiter.
You're a little far away.
Let me pull some lines actually.
And that's our galaxy.
And you're still in the center of that square. You're just really small.
So how far are we going out here?
A ways.
It's 1 million.
It went out really far, and it went back in really quick.
Like it was 20 million.
Nope. The next one's not going to be 20 million.
So 10 million.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't
know how
really-
it would get up to.
100 million.
I'm good.
100 million.
There's your 10 to the 14th that we just had on the board.
Oh, nice.
And so they're not using billion and trillion, they're saying million.
You can see the constellations.
Now we're in Alpha Centauri area, the next star.
1 light year away.
Whoa, that was going to light years.
That reminds me of
It's like
Remember if you want to make fun of Star Wars Spaceballs?
So guys, have we been traveling at the same speed, zooming out the whole time?
No.
Are we getting faster or slower?
Faster.
Yeah.
The exponents over on the right in the scientific notation is picking up speed. The numbers are getting bigger, faster.
Oh, look at it, it's so pretty.
Yeah, are these numbers over here
Or are they-
increasing
Or are they
at the
getting,
same speed?
they getting bigger the same speed, or are they getting bigger faster? So
Well,
the
there's two
cam,
separate things we can talk about, right? The speed that we're zooming out here in the picture,
Milky Way. Oh.
and the way the exponents are changing, right?
Our supposed to change.
That's good. We passed the
I'd like to point out that this video was made before Hubble launched. There's more about the universe we know now because of Hubble that's not in this video. We know more about the universe right now than they could have imagined in '77.
100 million
Are
light
we like
years.
around anywhere here? Like,
No, like
you're in the middle of the square.
Hudson.
no.
We stopped.
Like,
And now they
where
go
are
back.
we? Like, on the thing.
Like really
Where is
fast.
that?
We're 100 million light years from now. If you left Earth traveling at the speed of light, 100 million years, and you would be where this picture's taken from.
There we go. Now it goes back really
Well, I'm
fast.
dead by
How would you
then.
even know?
Hey, I think I've seen this video. Right.
No, that was something else.
And now the exponents are getting smaller.
This is the really cool part.
Yep.
Oh, we're going in.
Does anyone feel motion sickness?
No.
No.
I just feel
Are
really
you
small.
There we go. Back to Earth.
Oh, time to go.
Back to Chicago.
Class is half over.
And now we go inside the dude.
Inside the dude.
Not even kidding.
That's right.
We go inside the dude. Yeah, we
You're
go.
back to 0 meters.
Guys.
Guys,
Right, so now centimeters.
Here's a hairy
Oh
hand.
gosh, now it's gonna go.
Ew. Looks like a bug.
Just skin cells.
Disgusting.
He has dry skin. He's
Quiet.
again, I want to point out, this was done in 77, before we understood about quarks and leptons and the Higgs boson. So there's so much more we know that are even smaller scale than we can possibly think about going in this video.
That's what all of us looks like.
What is that, DNA?
How do you know that?
Double helix.
There you go.
Really? Not this environment.
And the things in between the two outside strips, ones that are going up and down, base pairs, CGAT,
Yep.
you know those?
Everything's shaking. Go inside one of those pairs.
And now what are we looking at?
Atoms.
Good.
Just a bunch of atoms.
Okay, so now are we zooming in faster or slower?
And what's moving all over the place? Are the atoms moving all over the place?
Electrons.
Electrons are moving. Very good. Notice our measurement is an angstrom over on the left.
Towards the light.
It's a really, really tiny unit.
What is that?
Somebody tell me.
I left the poltergeist reference there.
That's false.
That is a carbon atom.
Whoa!
One atom.
Hey, we have carbon. We.
You are a carbon-based unit, yes.
So
Okay, that pretty
awesome.
much brings it home for us right there.
And we go inside the carbon atom.
It looks like sprinkles.
Cake. It's like the 4th of July.
White though. This is like all over.
Brent.
Wow.
All right.
Already. Alright.
So the smallest number on the screen was
0.000.
There's a lot of zeros.
10 to the minus 15th.
I think so, yeah.
The biggest number was
10 to the 24. 8? Was it 28?
I don't remember how far it went out.
I think
It was
it's
over.
28.
It was like 25-ish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'd like you guys to do now for the next, let's see, what time does class end today? It's kind of a weird day.
Like half an
It
hour.
ends at 1:52.
No, that's normal. We're not
Oh, so
normal
we
today.
12:52.
40 minutes or so?
12:52.
Yep, 12:52. 1:52 your time.
Okay, I'd like to take about 20 to 30 minutes to do this, or if you guys finish sooner, we can move on. But I think it might be helpful to you guys, and you tell me, if you were to make a power of tens table with an example. So I can show you an example of the type of table I'm thinking about, although I want you guys to be creative and make something that helps you, so it doesn't have to look exactly like this. But your first column would be, let's move it down. We'll call it the scientific notation table. Power of 10, what that power of 10 looks like in standard notation, if it was 1 times that power of the 10.
Oh my gosh, I can't spell.
An example
How do you make
of what that power of 10 looked like in scientific notation, and then the example in standard notation. And of course, your table will be a lot smaller than mine, so you should be able to fit this across the page. You can do a real life example, and that'll be the fun part. You can either use the power of tens video that we just watched, or you can do it in terms of money. I challenge you guys to come up with a creative example from your life or from real life in general that has to do with powers of 10.
Mr. Schneider could do dog hairs.
There you go. The number of dog hairs on Shelby's blanket.
On the floor. On the bed.
She sleeps with you
In the washer.
in the washer.
Who wouldn't let their dog sleep with them? I mean,
I
would.
tried, but my dog doesn't like, he's a squiggly dog and
So
he
Miss-
can't sleep with
Mr. and Mrs. Schneider, how low should we go?
She did that on purpose.
Should we start with 10 to the negative fifth?
Sure.
I like that. I also like the fact that these kids get these fairly vague movie references. Poltergeist,
And
Grease, there you go.
based on my chemistry class today, I'm pretty sure you should include Avogadro's number in this.
Avocado.
Avocado?
Avogadro's number. I'm pretty sure that should be included.
Who's avocado?
What's avocado? I forget.
If only there was a way you could figure that out without me telling you.
Well, how do you spell that, huh?
There was.
You give it a shot.
You could just sell it to the.
Bing will help you.
Funny.
There'll be suggestions.
Heather, something that really blows my mind is the space between our galaxy and the next galaxy, Andromeda, is the same amount in a ratio of space between the electron shield and the nucleus of an atom.
Really?
It's a ratio of phi. And that has always made my mind go, that it's the same distance between galaxies as it is between electrons and proton nuclei.
Yeah, but do you think it's all galaxies or just a
Most
specific
galaxies
situations?
dispersed across the universe, the observable universe, from our cone of light, yes.
Wow.
So maybe we're
Maybe
just
we're all
riding
just-
on an atom.
Exactly what I
Maybe
was
we're
going to say.
riding an electron around the
Don't.
nucleus of an atom.
Don't! No!
That is your mind blown right now.
Don't blow minds! It's not a time for that.
Can you spell insignificant?
You're insignificant. Slim. That's how you spell it.
You guys, what happens when we have 10 to the 0 power? What does that number look like?
One.
What's anything to the 0 power?
One.
Yes. Most of you guys put 0 on the pretest.
No, we did.
Now you know. Now you were reminded. Okay, then how far are we going to go in the positive direction?
5.
Oh, way past 5. They have to get to Avogadro's number, so they have to get up to.
What is avocado?
Somebody find it yet?
No, we don't know what that is.
Google it, Jerry.
Ava.
Hey now, we're not my uncle.
We don't quit our jobs.
Is it a new avocado?
The what?
Avogadro.
That's what I got. 0.0221.
6.022 times 10 to the
23rd power.
23rd power.
I've got 221409E.
Yes.
So we have to go to 10 to the 23rd power?
Yep.
Ah!
How we can make it to how far? Are you kidding me?
10 to the 23rd power.
How are you not halfway done by now?
This takes a long
Oh
time.
my god.
Negative
I'm
five.
about to chunk this computer.
Can I
out
use
the
the internet?
fucking window.
If you go over to Excel, you can copy and paste and drag it down, and it'll do that whole left-hand column all for you. And then you
That's
copy
not
and paste it back over.
Then we have to do 10-4, 10-3, 10-2, 10-.
Grab the bottom corner and pull. It just copies for you.
Okay, I need one. Okay, I need one more.
Yep, you do.
Yeah, how?
So, click over in here,
I'm just gonna keep clicking.
and there you go. You need to not insert a table. You need to go to your table. It's either design or layout. We have to guess.
I'm just
It's
gonna
not a
delete this
design,
whole
so it's
table
gonna be a
because it's
layout.
like not good.
So, let's get the home again, and then hit. Oh, you're not in there. There we go. Hit that layout one. Yep. Insert above, insert below, insert left, insert right. Ta-da.
Why do we have to learn this? This is science. Like seriously?
Science is not helpful in your life at all.
What is Avogadro's number used for?
8.
Who even knows?
What class is Avogadro's number necessary for?
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
I don't freaking care.
Scientific notation is used in science. You have to know this.
Well, I don't.
It's in every physical science book in the world.
Well, we should.
Do you really?
Well, maybe we should. We maybe would have known that if we had a book, huh?
And you don't know it now?
No,
So we'll
because
give
we're
you
not in physical science, and you don't give us books. Oh, we are.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm like,
Seriously, I would so rather be taking all these worksheets home and be like, yeah, I got a worksheet.
You guys would rather do worksheets?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
But what happens when you get out into real life and it's not worksheets anymore and you have to like think about stuff?
So,
Eating cardboard out on the street.
Yes. You'll be recycling cans and eating beans. Which come in cans, which you can recycle.
I need your screen still.
I have an answer to the question that the girl asked, when will I ever use this?
Her name is Justine.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, Christine.
I can't hear very well. But, so, what about, like, if I ever wanted to sell something on the internet, and I wanted to sell to China? If I didn't have this kind of scientific notation, everybody in China has to use scientific notation. Because anytime they deal with a new market, they're dealing with billions of people.
So we don't live in China.
I'm talking, in Chinese notation, they can't write all those zeros. They must use scientific notation. And so I want to sell my product. I'm not a scientist. I'm selling something that goes in your car. But I want to sell to 1 billion Chinese people. If I didn't know how to write this in scientific notation, I'm cut out of the market automatically. And I'm not a scientist. It's good to know what the rest of the world is using to identify numbers. And China is a pretty big market. But let's not use China. Let's go to India, also with 1 billion people, also uses significant numbers. All of Europe uses significant numbers. The United States, scientific notation. The United States is the only country in the world that doesn't demand it. That's why, in the internet age, you need to know about scientific notation. Otherwise, you won't recognize numbers coming from India, China, or the European Union.
He
That's
just
the real
told
world.
you.
And you can be one of the 300 million Americans that don't understand scientific notation. You have an assignment, you have a time deadline. You might want to get after it. Mrs. Keller, they would like to see your screen again.
Okay. And then I'm gonna jump on the bot, so just for another minute or two.
Oh, I can hit my button and freeze the screen too if you want me to.
Sure.
You get to make up your examples, yes.
Awesome. How do we find real life examples?
Freeze. There we go. Screen is frozen. You can do what you need to.
All right. I'm gonna jump on the bot, you guys, and I'll be around to answer any questions or hear your complaints and try to make you feel better. There shouldn't be any complaints about this, guys. This is pretty easy stuff. And I think it's kind of cool. Like this is perspective. This isn't just numbers. We're applying those numbers to something, to distances, to amounts of things, to zooming in, zooming out.
Oh, yeah, how do you have the thing that we just gave you now, how do we do that again? And then we go to layout.
Oh, I need to get into.
Yes, but I think you have to fill them all in. Okay? Sure. Mrs. Keller, they're not allowed to use the ellipsis points that you put in, are they? They have to fill them all in?
Ellipsis points, you mean?
You
my
skipped
example?
from -4 to 0 and from 0 to 23?
No, it's very long.
They're not allowed to skip, right?
Oh, no, we want them to do the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to go to, 23 seems like a lot though. Are we sure we want that?
No, we don't wanna do that, Bernie.
You have to do them all to 10, and then you have to do 2s until you get to 23.
No. What? I already did all this. Yeah, I'm just going to go to 23. What?
See, it's not that hard, is it?
I already did.
I like the ellipsis
There you go.
points because that's the
All you have to do is
just
put
indicates
14
that
zeros.
If you spent more time working and less time winding, you'd be half done by now.
Oh. Is someone on the double? I don't see it. Is it turned on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you halfway though?
Uh-oh. Is someone on it already?
No.
No.
Stop on
I'll check it for you.
I'll log off and log on again too. There we go.
This computer, I'm not good with electronics. Oh, back to zeros.
I would suggest you use copy and paste.
Yeah, I did that with my table.
Control C, click Control V, add a 0. Control C, click Control V, add a 0.
I want to see how this looks.
That's all there is to it.
Oh, look at it.
You don't have to. Do you want to type all those zeros? Or do you want to copy and paste?
Bracken don't know. Oh, you mean on
Second column.
I guess I should go back and put commas.
Or spaces.
I'm not put commas. I do it me. You do it you. Oh, I love it when I go down, it just automatically puts me in this place I need to put a comma.
How do you add more space? I have one pencil.
Quick in your last one. Go to layout. See layout at the top. Find add more to the right. There you go. Insert right.
actually?
Well, no.
There's a little plus sign that pops up.
Oh, underneath?
Hey,
Yeah, you probably want to.
Becky, Becky.
You can click the little plus sign.
Yep, you can.
Look.
That's not gonna help over there.
Can we just pick? We can't hear you. This color. There it is.
You're kind of quiet.
I can hear me.
Okay.
Wait, for this arrow, can I just pick the
Yeah, the volume is up.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I know.
Sound good.
So ladies, how's it going?
I already pulled it down. Wait, am I doing this right?
Am I super loud?
No.
Nope, you're about normal.
Perfect. So I'm really interested in how you guys are these examples. Like, how are you going to describe each power of 10?
I don't know yet.
Well, let's brainstorm.
Does anybody have examples?
Nope.
No care.
Did you go to
We just watched a
10 to
video with a ton of examples, right?
Somebody mentioned tin cans earlier, and I immediately went to recycling.
Ooh.
That's because he said we weren't gonna turn out anything.
But think about power of 10 in terms of recycling.
How would we know? Yeah, we're a little bit of small that we don't recycle.
That's our bell.
Or in your own town. Think about the number of people in your town.
That's Mount Vernon's bell.
Oh, no, I wouldn't go straight.
Out of
Jump
control.
for the chair.
Is this our assignment for next time then?
Where's she
No,
going?
you're supposed to be done with that in another 10 minutes or so.
Tonight I need help on this. I can't make more table, but.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
Put a little plus sign maybe.
Do you want more rows at the bottom?
Yeah.
There's a little plus sign at the bottom left hand corner.
Well, there she goes.
So how far do we have to go up?
No, open the door.
Oh,
so she
thanks.
can go.
10 to the 23rd.
Yeah, she can. Careful, there's a chair right there. And
Thank you, guys.
She has a camera that shoots down too.
oh,
She just needs to switch over to it.
Okay,
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Oh, no, I was gonna come bother you guys. How's it going?
good. Bregan?
What I do? Just
We're not doing anything.
It's
Not
psychedelic.
doing anything.
You're supposed to be doing stuff.
I'm almost done. You know what she means.
Oh, good.
Right?
What kind of examples are you doing?
I don't have examples filled out yet, that's all.
Oh, yeah, that's the hard part. Or the fun part. Am I super close to it?
No, you're Once we get to 10:10, then we can put my
Is he back mouthing you?
Stop keeping things.
Back mouthing you? What's it called? Bad
Let's
mouthing.
bring-
Mouthing back. Are you
Let's
mouthing
brainstorm
back?
some examples.
Are you mouthing back?
Okay.
What's something in your life
You
where
know
there's
what
a
I
lot
meant
of,
on a set.
that could be a power of
Are you mouthing back to me?
God, why isn't this thing that you go?
and maybe Justine can help you think of some
I thought you were supposed to.
ideas.
Well, books are another example.
That expired.
No,
10-1.
Justine.
Oh, then it goes off
Me
again.
both, I'm a robot.
0.
Okay, never mind.
I'm not even done.
Your phone is like 7.
Hello.
Uh-oh, Bregan. Such a friendly person.
Did you take my phone?
I won't pick on you if you don't want me to.
Yeah. See?
Okay, this thing
Uh-oh,
is
Bregan.
bugging the crap out of me.
Does anyone have some good examples that you're really excited about, like?
Still does.
Like,
Hey,
Little.
no, I don't, Bregan. You can head over there.
Do I need a rule about you two sitting anywhere near each
She's
other?
my wife. Uh-oh.
Don't do
we're good.
Bregan, stop it.
What's up?
He's gonna drive her.
Oh, I'm gonna chop this thing out the freaking window.
Maybe I'll just have to sing.
There.
That's a lot of zeros.
Freaking bars. Just not having it today. You know, this is like social. This is why I do not do things. Okay, now where's my layout crap at?
Lucky I won't bother you, don't worry.
She lied about you, so she's gonna. I was the one that was
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yes.
10.
Yes.
You have anything going?
I do.
You do?
I do.
I need it.
You should
It sure does.
be not.
That's a lot of zeros.
That's a lot of zeros. That's why I suggested copy and paste. And you're gonna wanna learn to use a control C and control V
Why?
instead of the right click, go find copy, right click, go find
It's not
paste.
working. Yeah, trust me, I got that
Way
down.
faster.
Sierra, you couldn't even put me on.
You guys, if you wanna work with other people, you can.
And if you're smart, you learn to do this, right here.
What's that?
Stop
Stop it, don't.
Control C, control V are, they're this far apart. Control C, and then you pull it over a little bit.
Thank
Control
you.
V.
If it helps, you were on there, but you weren't gonna
You're
sit
like
on
pinching
there,
me.
so it switched it to the next. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah?
She switched it. She switched it.
Starting at 10 to the negative 5, getting bigger until you get to 10 to the 23rd.
This thing.
It's not
Oh,
easier.
that scared me. I didn't know she was coming. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's weird. Don't do that. Oh, did Jim leave?
Hey, I watched a video of myself using this thing the other day, and my face looked really funny while I was driving around, and I didn't realize it. So I understand if you guys are laughing at me. I look really constipated. Like,
Crap, okay, that's it.
while I'm driving
One
it,
more time, I'm
because it's really hard not to
Why can't I do
into
this?
things. If you guys had the drive this thing,
Oh, we drove it one day when it was just 4 of us,
I did it.
and it was just 4 of us, everyone else was gone. And I drove it into Mrs. Purvis's room without her noticing and scared her.
Mr. Schneider.
any cool examples over here?
No.
Is anyone coming up with awesome ways to describe these ginormous numbers? Or really tiny numbers? Or are you guys just being normal today?
Oh my gosh. I just used your
better.
What happened the other day? Yeah, can we take a selfie?
You're over there in a little tiny stamp on the computer by Mary.
Mr. Schneider. No, working.
We don't
Do that in the
think that.
personal.
Normal people don't do pictures.
Do persons off.
Mr. Schneider.
Do that.
Standard notation. You should copy the titles. Yeah, there you go. And then you know what to put in. Are you guys almost done?
No, okay, there's the thing. Roll it up.
I don't know, it doesn't really matter. You should maybe be a little, maybe tie that to your example. If you're gonna do, the number of people in China, maybe you want the actual number. And then the example, you do the number of people in China, and then you have the actual number. And then the actual standard form number, the actual multiplication. You can do the same thing with the US and that one is, but there's change. That's round change.
That was terrible.
And my sister's like, whoa, you know shortcuts? I'm like, yes, actually, I'm smart.
Control B is bold, and control U is underlined, and control I is italic. And control Z is undo, and control Y is redo.
Why? But it's really funny though. She's in college and she's still confused by them. And I'm like, it's not that hard.
Every time you right click and point at it, it's right there. It tells you what the control key is.
Exactly. What's it like?
Brent,
Work.
You won't let go.
Hey, what's a real life example?
I don't know, I was talking over there and I said you could use like the number of people in China. And the number of people in the US.
Hey, is that right? Am I doing that right?
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, we have
What's
to
10
get
to the
all.
0?
Oh.
One.
Did you put 1 or
Oh.
We have to get all the way to
Also tells you.
Oh, sure does.
And then what do I do?
Well, do you want
You
burger
just go on the touch screen and it has the little
Just
Oh, I didn't know
pops up
that.
and then you press on control.
It did have that last time I had a PC laptop.
Yeah.
Hey, Mrs. Keller, I have a question.
Who's that?
Sarah, right here.
Keep
That's
looking
right.
up like
She
that,
loves
or I
people
do it
asking
now?
questions. Asking all the
It's
questions.
10 to the
No,
second,
not me.
a decimal.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was farther.
Careful.
It's Freshman, what's 1 times 10 to the second power?
100.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Everybody agree?
May I help you?
Yeah.
What's 1 times what?
1 times 10 to the second power?
Oh, there's no decimal when you go.
Not in whole numbers. In the negative numbers, then they're,
Examples like in the power.
1, 2, 3.
in the positive numbers, they're all bigger than 1.
You can use examples from the power of 10 video, or if you want to think of something like Sir Schneider was saying, here, some big number.
4.693 times 2 to the negative 5. Can I give you an example?
Does that make
Standard
sense?
notation,
Yeah.
we give you a real life example.
So what are you thinking? I can help you.
So actually, your real life example might give you the number.
How many people live in the world right now?
That's a really good.
That's why I gave those guys over there, and then again, the example of people in China.
Oh,
That's
So look
really
up how
good.
many people are in China,
Brilliant is the world's
put it in the
population.
right place.
I got
It doesn't have to be exactly
Go
1
look up
billion.
how many people are in the US, put it in the right place, that's your example, that'll be your real number.
Like, that would be, like, our examples is
They'll
like
probably
something
give you the
like
standard notation number, and then you have to learn the scientific, or they give you the
7
scientific.
billion in
number.
2012. Now
And
it
that's
says
the
we've
scale,
got
that's the activity.
7.4 billion people in 2016.
Dude, put that as your example. That's really good. With all that information. 7.4 billion people on the planet in 2016, and then cite your source. To that website
Absolutely.
where you
I don't even know.
that information.
I got it.
But that's supposed to go in this.
Now you're on track.
In the examples column.
I've got everything
On the
except for
very
the
far right.
examples.
Oh.
Real life, okay, okay.
They're due
But
tomorrow.
then, the scientific notation example.
What's due
and
tomorrow?
standard
This
notation
thing.
example.
I thought you said we had
Those
this
would be
billion
actual
today.
numbers.
Right, so that's where you
Oh,
go to.
I don't know, it says due January 28th.
Oh.
Hey kids, does the real life examples change with each scientific notation that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't pet me.
That's what you get for leaning back.
So can you,
Step out my hair.
can you make up phony numbers?
Yes.
Like 4.62 times 10 to the 7th?
Yes.
Or should you go find a number in real life that's that's something times 10 to the 7th and replace that 4.62 that's made up? But it doesn't take much work to find out how many people there are in China and put that in the appropriate spot. How many people there are in the US, put that in the appropriate spot. How many books are in the Library of Congress, put that in the appropriate spot.
What?
How many ants are on the planet, put that in the appropriate spot.
How would anyone ever count that?
Yeah.
How many particles are in a mole,
What?
chemistry class?
I don't like him
A mole is a
anymore.
grouping, like a dozen.
I liked him
Or
for
a
like a
case,
second
or a
today.
gross.
Then he just goes and ruins
I
it.
thought you meant either like a mole on your face or like a, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I do too.
Oh. How are we supposed to
Christine,
know
how are you
something
doing?
that's like that small?
Google it.
That's where you.
You gotta have even have an idea of mine.
Google it, Bobby. For crying out loud.
But that'll tell you.
Oh.
When you go look up how many people are in China, you'll get a number you want to figure out which one.
What happens if I don't trust it at all?
Make sense?
How many people in the world are gay? Let's do that one.
Probably 0.
How many people in the world are gay? 3.5% of the adult population are gay.
You really don't like to do that, you really care.
Population where?
Hey.
In the world.
World? And how many people is that? And which line does that go on?
The analysis suggests that there are more than 8 million adults in the U.S. who are lesbian, gay, or bisexual.
Where does 8 million go?
Place.
Find it, write it in there, cite your source. Shut up. Move on. Next.
All right, so I have another question.
Uh-oh, freshman.
Well,
Freshman.
you guys are dealing with population of the world, or at least a lot of you are mentioning that, but that's not a static number, it changes like second by second. So how do you do a scientific notation that isn't,
Basic.
Plus
Rick.
or minus.
can you do that? Can you do a plus or minus on scientific notation?
I don't know.
Give or take after the number.
Uh-oh. If only there was a sign that meant approximately equal to.
This squiggly.
Oh, crud, there is.
Oh, crud.
What a deal.
Can you use that as a notation?
Yes, I would say that's appropriate. I don't know what our mathematician would say.
And I don't know, are you doing the little symbol that's to the left of the one?
No, I'm using the squiggly equal sign. It's an actual equal sign that's made that, yeah, it looks like
I don't
that.
know what the squiggly equal sign is, Slim.
It's that thing, only there's two of them. Just like an
Oh.
equal sign.
I honestly, in all my years of math, have never seen that. Seriously?
Yes, you have.
If you go to insert symbol, it should be in there. Am I right?
Well, somebody should ask Mrs. Keller that question. I'm not certain that she heard the question.
Yeah, go ahead and ask it. How to find a real life dragon?
What?
She said,
Freshman.
she's typing something in and it suggests how to find a real life dragon.
Freshman. How about if you find a real life clue?
Wow.
That's gonna be hard.
Not amused.
I can't find it.
There's no blue pop or something.
Oh wait, I found it. I found it.
What about me?
Go there.
Here's
Ah. Insert symbols, math.
Okay, go over. Go. Okay, right there. Hold it.
I'm just thinking about coming back on the laptop.
Just go to
Do you hear that question?
Go ahead.
Right now.
They're just copies.
I can grab this and mark it for you.
And you have to erase all your statements.
More than 8 million people know that. Gay, lesbian, and bisexual. Wow. But I think it's sexual. Put that in.
That's a cool little deal.
Yeah, it's in there. That's like the whole population of
Laptop on
Jersey.
the stick on the six.
Seriously?
Yes, she did.
She came out of the closet.
That's weird. I wasn't talking about you guys.
Oh, no, trust
Responding to something on my computer.
It's weird
I'll be right
here.
What's weird? I want to know now.
Someone was talking about being gay.
Over 8 million people in the U.S. are gay, lesbian, or bisexual, and that's like the entire population of the state of New Jersey. And Brecken's like, oh, I should move there. Imagine watching this video on YouTube later on.
Okay, let's quit talking about
It would, it would not be appropriate to watch this video on YouTube later and cut snippets and put them on Facebook and make fun of people.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna happen, Schneider.
All right, Macy, what's the problem?
Alright, we are about to go about
I'm out of room here. I'm gonna change my margins.
Okay, that's right? I don't have to have any specific number or anything.
No, but you have to have a real example that's that size. What's a real thing that's that big?
I don't know.
This is gonna take.
Erica.
Or
Erica's gonna go
I
home
mean,
and
it's suicide. Look at that term.
You hear the question that I asked?
I did not.
You led
How
me
do
to
you
this.
indicate scientific notation if it's not a static number? Like if it changes up or down, can you put that variance or do you just stick with what
Sure.
then and there?
That's a good question. I guess it depends on context.
See?
Like
That's why I like
population,
those
they're all
big-
dealing with population, but we know the population changes.
Naughty girl.
Yeah, I mean, it would just be an estimation because the population is changing constantly.
There you go.
And so like,
So now,
when a survey was done at this specific moment in 2012 or whenever, it was this
Look up the number.
It
We
sounds
don't
like
have to
a-
print this, right?
estimation of what it's around right now.
Somebody print it.
Like it probably hasn't changed from 7.4. I mean, that's what it was
You
in
can just jump right over.
earlier
to-
this month. It probably still 7.4 billion.
Okay, I moved it 3 times.
Because it's not gonna change by billion.
That's a weak number.
And then you don't.
Right, so with the larger numbers, I mean, it depends on what that variance is too. Like
Alright.
another 1,000 every day or whatever the increase is.
Hey, at least we don't.
Probably more than that, actually.
That's the negative side.
What'd you say?
At least by one in Ohio.
Yes.
Yeah, like for our pepperonis, like.
Well, so the day that Finley was born, there were 15 other births on that floor of the hospital.
Wow. Oh, I
So-
watch YouTube and their little baby's name is Finley too.
So she shares her birthday with at least 15 other people in the city of Columbus. But that's just Columbus. What about everywhere else?
Columbus, Ohio. Are you ready to rumble?
Who's listening to like beat music?
No,
That's the band downstairs.
Now, what's the whole last thing that is 10 to the negative 5? And worry about the real estate later. Give all the numbers first.
I knew you would abandon us.
You have an assignment in Edmodo? And, yeah, you can throw that on the floor now. She's done with the double. Are we almost done?
No! I need your help.
Stop yelling.
Calm down.
So guys, there's this space on Edmodo for you to turn in your tables when you're done. And you have this afternoon to work on them if you want to get them in by 6 or 7 p.m. tonight, that's fine. So if you want to get them in tonight, you're good. As always, email me with any questions you have or text.
Your class is over in 2 or 3 minutes, right?
Sure.
You're gonna have these
Why are we
done?
having a pep rally? I think I missed that element.
It's just a winter sports pep rally. It's everything for everybody.
Alright, so it's a kumbaya moment right before you.
I think so.
We don't have to put it in a real life example, right?
Yes, you have to put stuff in the real life example.
Oh my god, okay.
Stuff that's that big.
That's the best part.
What is 10 to the negative fifth in real life?
I
What's
agree,
that
Mrs.
big?
Keller.
It's the hardest part.
What real things are that big? You know, like one of these is gonna be the population of America. Is 10 to one of those powers. You know, and it's gonna start with a 3. And I don't know what the numbers are after that, but it rounds to 300. Go find it real.
10 to the negative 3.
Freshman.
Now we start thinking about cellular or microbial life. That's about the size of a virus.
You get to negative 3, it's about the size of a virus. So you need to think about microbes.
It's actually 7.125 billion.
For what? The Earth?
Yep, think through that, small can be the creep.
Not as bad as a dead rat.
Oh, no, I don't mind dead rabbits. I'd much rather have them dead than
Who's in
alive.
the same building as Heather? He works for the Pass Foundation.
I agree.
Cook coke out on the farm. Coke out of the can. The can you can sell, yeah.
And he does all of their graphics. Computer pictures stuff.
Horribly for you, but the things you do on the farm in South Dakota.
Freshman,
I was gonna say
do
my.
not stand up. You don't do that normally. Why would you do it today?
We do it.
Did all of you get a picture of that so that you have it? You have Ms. Kellert's email? You can send questions to her? I did a long time ago.